You're not going to
and say when they're in the majority, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah,
Walk right in front.
I know.
We will have
I'm not that type of Democrat,
Democratic
so it's fine.
fundraiser Lindy Li on, and I've got a lot of questions to ask her.
Lindy Li's a fucking maniac. Why is she going to be on TYT? I can't even say that I'm really interested in hearing what she has to say.
There might be fireworks. It might get fiery. So
well, it's an interesting conversation anyway you slice it. So let's go have it.
I believe you could be a Trojan horse. I believe that someone who spent the better part of the last election supporting Biden and Kamala Harris all of a sudden sees the light after Donald Trump wins an election. I mean, you're not that much different from Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos.
I know
Wait, he might be spitting.
that I have a lot to prove, but give me a chance to prove that. Don't shut the door. I have a lot to offer, and you're not going to find a harder worker. I'm already working hard to make sure that we nail the midterms because this is absolutely pivotal. We can't go back to Woken, the trans insanity. I am done with that.
Well, the woman that you just heard, conservative Eric Bolling, accused of being a Trojan horse for
the woke and trans insanity. I'm done with it. What the fuck are you? What the fuck is she talking about? I don't trust this bitch for 1 second.
For MAGA is a former fundraiser for the Democratic Party. Her name is Lindy Li. If you're politically engaged, you've probably seen her interviews on cable news and lots of other different shows. And after helping Joe Biden and later Kamala Harris raise millions of dollars for their campaigns, including Biden's re-election campaign, Li went on to defect from the Democratic Party and support Donald Trump. Lindy Li, it's a pleasure to have you.
Lindy Li, why did you support the guy that cut $1 trillion from Medicaid? Lindy Li, when you supported Trump, did you know that he was going to cut $1 trillion from Medicaid? Lindy Li, are you fucking retarded?
Thank you so much for having me. You guys, I've been watching you since I was out of college, so this is very surreal for me.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, I wanted to kind of start off.
Yeah, I don't know how to react to that one either, mate. Oh fuck. Shit. What did we do? Did a Trojan horse just walk onto the show? That's crazy. I've been watching you guys since I came out of college. I support Trump now. Unlucky, dog. Ooh, boy. I thought that she had just stopped donating to the Democrats. I forgot that she had turned around and decided to support Trump. That's crazy. And then it's like, oh, well, I've been listening to TYT since college. Oh, no. Oh, that's crazy, mate. I don't even know how to engage with that. That's funny. I've also been watching TYT since college. I think that me and Lindy Li are going to really disagree. I think we picked up some different lessons from what TYT was preaching back in the day. But curiously, her personal political leanings have aligned with TYT's in this moment, even though she's switched from supporting the Democrats to supporting Trump, of all people. Okay, let's continue. Lindy Li, avid TYT watcher, former Democrat turned Trump supporter.
By kind of understanding how you kind of got to the place you're at right now. So let me start by kind of giving a little bit of the explanation you provided on Piers Morgan's show, and then I'll clarify what I'm asking you specifically. Let's take a look at why you soured on a portion of the Democratic Party back in 2016.
Okay, I can't wait.
Ideologically, it's a massive, massive move to go from somebody who supports Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to somebody who supports Donald Trump.
I've always been on the conservative wing of the party, and there's a paper trail. 5 years ago, I went to war with the Bernie Bros. That's how I emerged on the public scene.
Ew. Ew. Sorry.
That's how I got my start. I, as a conservative, refused to vote for Bernie Sanders because he went against everything I believed in.
So you're a conservative?
Okay, so you were against the Bernie wing of the Democratic Party, which I identify as like the economic populist wing of the Democratic Party. Wing is a little generous. I would say there's like maybe 2 people in the Democratic Party who identify that way. But you also soured on the economically or fiscally conservative but socially far left wing of the Democratic Party. Let's take a look at that.
When I first became a Democrat, it was actually pre-Obama. We believed in middle-class values, fiscal responsibility, like moderation. We didn't think that biological men should be in women's sports. That's a fairly recent development, I think. Like in the past 5 years, I'm not in favor of that. I think that's absolutely just lunacy. These are recent developments. The
Things that happened recently aren't necessarily wrong.
the woke and the trans insanity, the DEI stuff, I didn't sign up for that. I just didn't, and I was terrified of vocalizing my opposition.
Why don't you have some stones and make a fucking argument, you cunt? Sorry, rude. Rude? I'm sorry. I'm not getting away with that one, am I? Nah.
So who did you like in the Democratic Party? Because those are the 2 separate wings.
Yeah, who
and
did you
I'm curious if you might have just always identified as conservative, but wasn't really fully self-aware. What do you think?
First of all, thank you so much for asking questions with respect. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of on edge of my seat waiting to be attacked because...
Sorry, yeah, I know. Look, granted, if I was interviewing her, I wouldn't have just like called her a outright. just to be clear. I'm reacting to... I'm reacting to their conversation with her post hoc, knowing that she's not going to hear this. Fingers fucking crossed, yeah, oh my. Then I would have egg on my face. Okay, I would feel very embarrassed about that. Mildly.
As my views, thank you so much for being gracious about it. As the years went on, I don't think I really like anyone. I most closely identify with my friend Governor Josh Shapiro.
I'm just a big hater, mate. I don't like nobody. Yeah, me. This is baby's first politics. Everyone in politics is bad. So true, King. Oh, Lord have mercy. I haven't done this track in a long time, yeah.
But even he is to my left on several issues. I think it's weird because you and I have gone through similar experiences on the Sean Ryan show. I talked about how I was assaulted just by standing outside. That's something that you've been through as well. And it didn't just happen once, it happened several times in a progressive run city. We have an extremely left-leaning DA who's funded by George Soros, and he doesn't prosecute minor crimes. And
left-leaning funded by George Soros.
Streets. And this is the state of American cities today. I mean, it's just one of the many reasons why I decided to leave. It's been extremely hard. This is not easy. If I wanted an easy life, if I wanted peace, I wouldn't have done any of this. But it was necessary. I no longer fit into this party, into this cult.
Bro. I had a similar... Is this a Trojan horse? I had a similar transition as you, Anna. Goes on to explain exactly what Dave Rubin did, and exactly in the exact same ways that Dave Rubin said it. So haven't you done the exact same thing, Anna? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I decided it's funded by George Soros, and he doesn't prosecute minor crimes.
George Soros!
And it results in unlivable streets. And this is the state of American cities today. I mean, it's just one of the many reasons why I decided to leave. It's been extremely hard. This is not easy. If I wanted an easy life, if I wanted peace, I wouldn't have done any of this.
If I wanted to I'm the victim. If I wanted to be, if I wanted my life to be easy, then I would have just kept making my money. I put myself out there, and I didn't do it for any other reason except to make the world a better place. Good for fucking you. Good for fucking you. Wow. So inspiring. What a trailblazer she is.
But it was necessary. I no longer fit into this party, into this cult.
Yeah. Lindy,
this cult.
I'm curious, as a conservative Democrat, why were you so animated by the Democrats in the first place? Why go through the significant effort of raising money for them?
This is just my entire life. I grew up in the age of Obama. He was elected in 2008. I was 17 years old. And I remember being just so ecstatic, so overjoyed that this would be the era of hope and change.
Crazy.
Obviously, we were quickly disillusioned, but it was my most formative era. It was my default position. I grew up in suburban Pennsylvania where the default was, moderation, social, conservative Democrats. That's essentially what the collar counties of Pennsylvania are known for. It's a swing area. And I didn't really have a reason to question my entire belief system until the last couple of years. And this took me a long time to come here, but over the last couple of years, it didn't just happen suddenly, as people say. This has been a very gradual process, and it's also been deeply personal to me. And one thing that I've never said before is something that happened to me over the course of this past decade. I was put on birth control in 2018 because of health issues, and it completely upended my life.
Oh my God.
I really never said this before, but it's really had such a
bro. Wait. Stop. Wait. We're about to jump down like an RFK Jr. type conspiracy rabbit hole. What the fuck? What is this? What's happening? Wait. Go back.
Something, and it's also been deeply in my entire belief system until my default position. And I remember being just so ecstatic, so overjoyed that this would be the era of hope and change. And obviously we were quickly disillusioned, but it was my most formative era. It was my default position. I grew up in suburban Pennsylvania where the default was, moderation.
I missed that part. That's a red flag. In Pennsylvania, grew up in Pennsylvania, red flag. Not that growing up in Pennsylvania makes you bad at politics. It might even make you better than most, but also it's the most heavily trafficked area in politics in a lot of ways. And because of that, it also has the most bad actors, and it also generates like the most conspiracy brained people in the fucking country in a lot of ways. So I don't know. It's like either a blessing or a curse, but it has to be one. You can never just be like a normal person in Pennsylvania.
Social, conservative Democrats. That's essentially what the collar counties of Pennsylvania are known for. It's a swing area. And I didn't really have a reason to question my entire belief system until the last couple of years. And this took me a long time to come here, but over the last couple of years, it didn't just happen suddenly, as people say. This has been a very gradual process, and it's also been deeply personal to me. And one thing that I've never said before is something that happened to me over the course of this past decade. I was put on birth control in 2018 because of health issues, and it completely upended my life.
Put on birth control for health reasons? And it upended your life? Are you outing your one doctor right now? Like, what is going on? This is the type of like conspiracy brain bullshit that's gonna like make people lose trust in systems broadly. Like, this is dangerous. Okay.
How so?
I really never said this before, but it's really had such a traumatic and tremendous impact on my thinking. I feel like I wasted 5 years of my life because I was on birth control. And when I decided to come off it in May 2023, I felt like I reclaimed my life.
Bro, I don't understand. I don't understand people like this. Griff. Okay, this is like the people who are like, I watched. Oh, that's what it was. It was. I watched like a tiny bit of a Jubilee video. It was like meat eaters versus vegans or whatever. And one of these people went up there and was like, I was always unhealthy, and then I started eating red meat every day and nothing else, and then my everything about my life got better. It just improved overall. Everything was amazing. And I was like, is this the one health trick that's gonna solve all problems? Hashtag, right? Like yeah, I know I'm not clever enough to make the joke there, but you get my point. Like what was it before you decided to switch to only meat or whatever? Right? Like, were you only eating fucking Doritos and Monster Energy? Like, I'm getting the same vibes from this, where it's like, oh, like, this is the thing that saved my life, so you definitely need to go this direction. That is, start eating meat and buying meat. And I'm not getting paid to say this, I swear. You know what I mean? And in this instance, it's like, oh, I ended up taking birth control and it destroyed my life. And I'm not saying don't take birth control, but, you know, be careful. It can kill you. You know, like I'm just getting the same. I'm getting the same energy from what she's saying right now.
And realize that conservatives were right about birth control. You know, it completely hijacks your hormones.
There you go. Conservatives were completely right about birth control. Were they? Yeah, it fucks with your hormones. The doctors tell you this, bitch. They tell you. This is the side effect. Did you discover the internet like 3 years ago? Do you know that Reddit exists and people that have had issues with birth control have talked about their experiences with birth control and how it affects all women differently, and that sometimes it can affect some women's hormones significantly worse than others? You just magically came upon this information. Your doctor didn't even tell you. They were like, "Oh no, don't just take this. You'll be completely fine." Not that there's different types of birth control, that there's different forms of it, that like some of the additives that are added to some birth controls might have adverse side effects for you. Like none of that. They didn't tell you any of that. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. The medical system in America, as wealthy and expensive as it is, not the best one.
Hormones. It makes you extremely anxious.
Even if you're super wealthy.
I was just expected to just take it without question. I tried to express my concerns to my doctor, but she was living in this liberal ideology where you could just medicate yourself to...
Crank. She's a crank. Why is she on TYT right now? She's a crank. Why is she on TYT right now?
You know, to recovery. But now that I've been off it for 2 years, I feel like I'm a new woman. I finally have full control over my mind.
I have full control over... Me when I need to come up with an explanation for why all of my political ideals have shifted completely, taken a full 180. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Let's get some pushback. All right. TYT is a news organization. You know, they're not going to fall prey to her like weak. I'm so happy that you're taking my concerns so seriously. You're not going to fall to that weak shit, are you? She's obviously a conservative like objectionable, like objective Trojan horse that's walked onto your own show and played the same trick with you. I've been watching you since college. Also, I support Trump now. Damn.
And I'm finally free to be who I am.
The birth control wasn't allowing me to be who I was. I don't know what that person did, illegal or not illegal. I don't know. But what that person did wasn't me, and I'm different now. No birth control. I'm free of the chains that the liberal Democrats shackled around me. Fuck's sake. Holy shit.
Without being shackled.
So Lindy,
pre-watched. I didn't know they were gonna use the shackled, bro. That's nuts. No.
Sympathetic to what you're saying. Look, I do not. My body does not respond well to hormonal birth control, but that had nothing to do with my political identity, right? And where I stand on specific political issues. Now,
wow. Okay. Wait. Please dig into this. Make her backtrack, because don't just like. I feel like Anna's gonna pivot right now to being like, okay, so let's go back to bashing the Democrats. We can get off the birth control stuff. Okay, let's see.
Now, I feel alienated from the Democratic Party because I first of all, I don't even know what the Democratic Party at this moment represents.
Yep. Now we're just talking about a different thing. This is what right-wingers do on their shows. They don't actually engage with fucking arguments. They don't do actual interviews. They just like, we came to talk on the show about the agreed conversation. It would be best to not like diverge from what we said we would talk about. We have to try to find ways to agree, even though she just said one of the most objectionable things I've ever heard. I don't want to derail the interview. Oh, please don't like accuse me of bad faith, because like 5 seconds ago you just accused me of good faith, which was the Trojan horse plant that you set for me. My ideology is falling apart.
They sometimes run on these big, bold policies, never deliver. And for me, I am very much economically left-wing.
Democrats.
I agree with you on some of the extremities of what's happened to the Democratic Party in recent years, but I actually view that as a symptom of the corporate cash flowing into these campaign coffers. And then you have like this.
Can you wait? People are like super pro-gay and pro-trans because of the money that's flowing into campaign coffers? Wait, what? Is that what's happening? Big gay and big trans is influencing all of our politicians? Wait, what? Because that's all the shit that Lindy Li was just talking about. She was just talking, I don't know, maybe you're talking about a different thing. Okay.
this party that essentially is similar to the Republicans in wanting to pursue.
She was just talking about birth control and how the conservatives were right about birth control. But okay, sorry.
That are way more beneficial to corporate interests and the elite in this country. And so what do they campaign on and what do they actually do when they're in power? They lean heavily into some of these social issues and they get more and more extreme, every election cycle. And in the end, they went too far and people kind of turned their backs on the party.
Because
That's
of
how
money?
I kind of view the situation.
Because of donors?
So when I look at the political landscape, I personally feel homeless because the Republican Party isn't really economically
politically
left.
homeless.
And the Democratic Party, I don't know what they stand for, but I know where I stand on the issues, and I'm trying to kind of figure out what your real political
Where do you stand
is
on the issues?
outside
I think
of
if I
your
were to
personal
boil-
experiences.
Sorry. If I were to boil it down, I would identify myself as a conservative environmentalist. I've cared deeply, deeply about the environment. It's like my reason for being almost.
Crank behavior. Again, like what? What am I listening to? Like all of these are like if super massive conspiracy theory red flags. This is wacky. Okay.
I'm a dedicated environmentalist and have been my entire life. It's my #1 issue. I do want to say one thing though, having been on the inside, another reason why I had to leave was a deception on many different issues. I saw that they were lying.
Oh, she's moving back to her talking points. She was like, okay, so like, here's my ideology, basically conservative environmentalist. I'm not going to elaborate on the conservative part. I just care really deeply about the environment. It's like the only reason I live. But I want to move on to some other points. Let's like reading off of the list of reasons to bash the Democrats and to say that the woke left has gone too far and to get TYT's audience to agree with me.
About Biden's
Or to agree with me and to disagree with what the progressive message. Yeah.
age. And when I did in 2022, that's when they first started really lying about it. Like gun-ho, aggressively lying about it. I leaked to the press that they were. And I did everything I could.
Press.
But you would be ostracized. You would be destroyed if you dared to say that Biden had cognitive decline. They just would not allow you to say it. You couldn't even question it internally. But that's all donors were talking about. All of us knew what was going on. It was like an emperor has no clothes situation. And then we all had to pretend that Biden was some like God, this demigod who was so magnanimous and couldn't do wrong.
This I am going to agree with Ron. I don't know. Probably.
Family. It's just so destructive to all of our institutions and undermines any arguments about Trump being corrupt when you can just point to Biden, doing the same thing essentially. Yeah. So I'm just sick and tired.
The same thing essentially. No. The way that they operated was very, very, very different. Not to absolve either of them. They're both despicable. And to this unfortunate point, I have to agree with her. What the Democrats did in lying to us about Joe Biden's health and all of that is completely unacceptable and disgusting. And I'll never forgive them. And I think I said earlier in a different recording, they should all be fired. Everybody who had any remote understanding of that situation and took active decisions to hide him on his quote unquote off days, fire them. Every single one. Never to work in politics ever again. I don't care. I don't know. I guess on this one issue, I don't have too many disagreements. I think she's still bleeding into the conspiracy stuff for me too much. Obviously equating the way that Trump is and his people are corrupt to the way that Biden's were when they're obviously very different categories. But like, okay, it depends. But yeah.
The blatant hypocrisy, the excommunication tactics, the fact that you can't ask any questions. I tried to reform the party from within, but they wouldn't have it. They banned me. The first moment, like within a week of me asking questions, I was taking.
You're a conservative. That's because you're a conservative.
I was just asking questions. I wasn't even criticizing, and they wouldn't even.
I don't believe you.
So
it was just
they wouldn't even listen to me.
They were so quick to ostracize me just for raising questions. After I raised millions for them, after I organized, after I gave everything I had to the party.
Everything she had.
But even over this past year, my mind was starting to change. I just didn't want anything to do with much, a lot of their policies.
Yeah, Lindy, I'm continue to be curious about the fundraising because it wouldn't have occurred to me to become a fundraiser at all for either party. So how did that come about? Where did you raise the money from? Why did you go into that? Why'd you go in that direction?
First, I want to say once and for all that I wasn't paid a single dime. People say that I was a consultant or, I was just grifting off the Democratic Party. I'm a donor. I give. I raise money and I give. I do not take. I haven't been paid a single dime. I did get like care packages with like cookies and stuff. I guess if you count that as payment, then fine. I don't even eat cookies. I gave them away. But I was not paid to do this. I did this because I wanted to. They recruited me in 2022. They came over to my home, actually. It was pretty aggressive. And they asked me
I forgot this
because I ran for Congress and I was able to raise a sizable sum then. So they saw that I had a record. They recruited me to be a part of the National Finance Committee. And you had to raise millions of dollars to qualify for that. And that became my world, like my friends.
Insane.
And I'm kind of introvert. They were just my entire world.
Yeah.
They were, the only friends I knew, essentially. It's actually kind of sad.
That's actually really sad. Yeah, that's actually really depressing.
Everything. Yeah. So that it sounds a little skull and bones. They tap you on the shoulder. Okay, we're going to ask you to raise.
Yeah, it's very one-on-one. And having been recruited, I've then recruited others. So it is very skull and bones. It's actually a great analogy.
What?
And so they recruit you, and then you recruit your friends, and it's kind of this pyramid scheme. Wow.
It's not a what? Wow. Then why are they taking what she's saying at face value? It's a pyramid scheme of donors. The donors are actually the victims here, and the Republicans don't do it that way. What the fuck is she talking about? I'm an environmentalist, conservative. I'm sorry, I should have like hit harder on that when I heard it the first time too, right? That means that you're brain dead. That means brain deadedness. You can't be conservative and then also pro-environmentalist. I mean, you can. I guess like there's ways to straddle that line. Like on all environmental issues, I agree with left-leaning people, but I agree with the conservatives on everything else. Okay, fine, that makes sense. But like, you're supporting Trump. He doesn't give a drill, baby, drill was his fucking message, bitch. Like what? And then she just says, like, basically, the Democratic donor structure is like a pyramid scheme. They ask you to use your network of people to try to get people to donate. Like all parties do, including the Republican. Yeah, Republicans are like, they're just too cool to ask people to donate. They're just like, nah, you'll donate if you want. You don't even have to tell anyone about us. They'll find us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just too cool. They'll just like accept our donations. They're not evangelical about it at all. And they wouldn't know anything about that because they're not evangelicals themselves. Like, oh my God, like brain rot, brain melt. My brain has turned into soup listening to what she's saying right now. And here's TYT, Anna, and Cenk both. Wow. It's really like a pyramid scheme for donors. I can't believe you were taken so advantage of. Now I feel what? She's literally blaming birth control on her being retarded and voting for Democrats or organizing for. She's literally like the Democrats are changing your hormones like the chemicals turned the frogs gay in a way that made me want to organize for Democrats despite them not doing anything for me. And now I like Trump. But I'm also an environmentalist. Incoherent. This is your median voter right here. She is just like an average American that happened to get rich. Nothing else. Like, this is just like a regular person. Fucking maniacal.
Wow.
And then the higher you go, the more access
go back.
You did others. So it is
one more
very
time.
skull and bones. It's actually
One more time.
Having been recruited, I've then recruited others. So it is very skull and bones. It's actually a great analogy. And so they recruit you, and then you recruit your friends, and it's kind of this pyramid scheme.
Wow.
And then the higher
wow. The higher you go, what?
you go, the more access you have.
Oh, more access, more money, more access. It doesn't work this way with the Republicans. I'm just playing with them now because.
And so I ended up raising millions.
Wait, Lindy, that's super important. So look, obviously you run in a wealthy circle, right? Like if I went to go recruit money for my friends, I'd raise $50, $75, maybe a couple of them, right? And then God bless, etc. But so that's interesting that if we're being honest about it, in this wealthy class of folks, they're getting recruited for the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. That's like a common occurrence the rest of us are totally unaware of. So that's already interesting. But you said
I guess it's normal to me, so I don't even realize it.
Yeah, so that's so normal to you. For the rest of us, we're totally unfamiliar with that. And it feels like there's a little bit of a Scientology kind of thing going on here where you move up the ranks. So if you move up the ranks, what extra
What the fuck? Don't let her just vagary explain that. Ask her to be specific. Wait. More access? What does that mean? Like, what are they offering you? What's the... Yeah, okay. He's... In so many words, he's saying that. It's just like he's giving her so much credit. I don't know. Let's see what she has to say. But like, he's just teeing her up to say the things that she wanted to say already. I just... Okay, whatever.
Access do you get?
I wish I could show... I actually have a PDF that details exactly what you get. For example, at the convention... What'd you say?
Can you send that to us, that PDF?
Can I send it to you after and you can show it?
Oh, I thought she was gonna be like, no. Okay. So I can share it after. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, of course. Okay. I don't know. It's somewhere in my emails.
Yeah,
but let me just describe it now. At the convention, there were different gradations. Like if you were to raise 100,000, I think it was like, oh, you get to go to an event with the president.
Oh my God! Literally, this always happens. This happened like the Democrat, like the Republican Party also does this, but they're just like more explicit about it. They're just like very obviously like, yeah, bribe us. Like this is how politics works. I don't like it either, but like this is literally how politics works. This isn't like news. This is not like a new breaking news story. Like this is fucking insane. Yes, there are. Oh my God, they said if you would be in this special category and tier and you would get these benefits if you spent this much money. They do the same exact thing with Trump stoners. It's very public. Oh, okay.
Like the bare minimum. But if you raise 2 million, I think was the highest. You got like your VIP skybox. You got your own.
Not bad.
You got your own lounge. You got to meet privately with Harris after her speech. They laid it out so carefully for you. And even at the time, I was like, isn't this like blatant pay to play? I even raised concerns. I was like, you don't want this floating around, do you?
Pay to play? Bitch, that's all politics is. I've been watching TYT since college. I can't believe that the Democratic Party is pay to play.
Because they laid it out
I'm not
so
gonna even finish this track, bro.
Bribery.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what it is.
Wrong at the time too. But I'm sure both parties do it. I don't think this is. I haven't obviously.
I'm sure.
I wasn't part of the Republican.
I'm sure that the Republicans maybe also do it. I don't know.
Convention, but I'm assuming they had something similar.
Yeah, Lindy, there's absolutely no question that both parties do it. Yes, 100%. They both do it, no question.
Yes.
That's partly why they're called the Uniparty. Which leads me to my last question. I'm genuinely curious about this too, Lindy. So why go all the way? Like, why not? Okay, like for example, I'm horrified by Democratic Party leadership. You say you'd get, excommunicated, et cetera, if you challenged Biden's age and competence. I lived all that. I did it. You excommunicated in every possible way, et cetera. But that didn't make me like Trump anymore. So like, I don't. Yeah, Biden's terrible. Harris is terrible.
Okay, this is actually a fair question. Thank you, Cenk.
The corruption in the Republican Party is, at a minimum, just as terrible. So why go all the way to Trump and MAGA?
There we go.
First, I didn't intend for any of this to happen. I was recruited by the Republican Party. I guess this is kind of like.
I don't know. I'm just like an actor. I just like sort of ping pong back and forth based on who asks me and who's nice to me. I don't know. Wow, this is crazy.
What were you saying before?
Well, they're smart. Can I just interject before you finish? Because I do want to hear what you have to say.
Oh my God. Can I just interject? Megyn Kelly also enticed me over in probably the exact same way that you're feeling. So I experienced the exact same what am I saying to this?
But Republicans understand how to build power. And so while Democrats can't wait to purge you, Republicans are waiting to take you in because they want to build coalitions and they want to win. And I think that's what happened in this last election cycle. So can you talk a little bit about how they recruited you? What do you mean by that?
It happened almost immediately. By the way, over the last couple of weeks, though, I've had to take a step back.
I came out and spoke against the Democrats, and the Republicans jumped in and pulled me in like that. None of this is to be viewed in any sort of sinister light, of course. When the Democrats do it, wow. Oh my God, wow. The Republicans do it, it's like, well, at least they're open about it. Like, the standards are so fucking insane depending on who you're listening to. Oh my fucking God.
Because the far right fringe of the Republican Party, honestly, it's been miserable. It's probably been the most difficult time of my life. And this past week, I was under so much stress, I was like spitting blood. So I'm not even sure. I'm in a very difficult place right now.
Maybe she should go back on birth control. That doesn't sound very healthy or normal.
As you said, I'm kind of, I'm without a home. You know, on the one hand, I'm being attacked for leaving, but how do you stay in an abusive relationship? And then the family that I'm trying to join is abusing me too.
Well, Lindy, let me just give you a word of advice, because I'm obviously going through something very similar because I disagree with some of what's been going on with the Democratic Party. But I think what guides me is my own moral foundation, but also where I stand principally on the issues. And so if my principles guide me, I'm not going to be wooed by either political party. And so if for the time being I'm politically homeless, it does suck. But I'd rather be an independent voter and make decisions as the elections come, rather than, you know, constantly declare my loyalty to the Democrats.
Okay, I'm looking it up. Hold on one sec. You're not going to be able to see this. I'm sorry, I'm doing it in a different window. I know it goes like it goes fucking dim when it does this. I'm sorry. Does California Democratic Party have closed primaries? Closed primary states 2024. Not California. 12 states with closed. Okay. Anna gets a pass. She's allowed to be independent. So I was about to tear into her, but it's fine. Let it slide. Let it slide.
It's when time and time again, they've disappointed me at best or infuriated me with their corruption.
To be clear, I would be independent if I didn't live in New York. New York has closed primaries, so if I want to vote for a candidate that's going to win in a primary, or in general, I have to vote in the Democratic primary because that's who wins here. It's stupid. I don't like it, but that's how it functions.
At worst.
Yeah, or the Republicans.
Yeah.
But Lindy, I just want to go back and let you finish. So how did they recruit you?
A number of people in the leadership reached out to me very graciously, in a very human way that I never got from the Democrats. And I've been with the Democrats for 15 years. I never got them out of, it was just like, they understood, these are individuals. I don't want to, you know, put a target on their backs because they get harassed because of me. But they reached out to me because I did see that I was in pain. And it's been very hard. And I do want to say, I know exactly where I stand on issues. The problem is I'm right kind of dead in the center.
I think a lot of Americans are.
No, they're not.
I'm sorry?
I think a lot of Americans are.
Right, so it's very difficult. And I'm in in Philadelphia, where there's a 1 to 7 or 1 to 8 voter registration. No one talks to me anymore because they're just so so shocked.
She's like so personally affected. So, I feel bad.
You know, it's just been very difficult.
Lindy,
I don't know what else to do really, other than to just keep telling the truth and just being who I am. But it's just been very hard that people lie about me, and it's hard to prove a counterfactual.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah, look, been there. So we know how you feel. People lie about us all the time, and then if you try to prove them wrong, they say, "Oh, you're being defensive," and it goes in loops, right? So, but I'm curious about the other thing that you said. How has the far right been terrible to you?
If I vocalize their lies, I give them more airtime, but I'm sure you can they say just these very despicable things about me that are entirely not true. And
that's how they interact.
Been amazing. I just want to say, but there's this fringe that just can never forgive me for being who I am. And they're upset that I'm getting airtime and they're not. They feel like I'm jumping the line. They even said so. This is not me extrapolating or imagining. They said this. They said,
she's actually being more honest than Cenk is about
putting this person on air.
The right wing.
Been here for a little while. So they feel like
that's
I
crazy.
usurped their role. And I just want to say that I'm not here to take anything from
What a fucking whiplash of an interview, man. Just we're bouncing back and forth between like, okay, I'm like barely agreeing with what she says, but I don't like how she's saying it, to, okay, now she's just saying outward conspiracy theory bullshit and actually agreeing with the conservatives, to now I have like the tiniest amount of sympathy for her because like she calls them out on their lies and then they get mad at her for it, which obviously I that wouldn't offend me if I wasn't on their side, but she is. Is this the point where I finally turn around and say I actually feel a bit bad for her? Because like everyone's taking advantage of her and she's just like not aware? Or is her brain just like so mentally cooked that like I don't know. Wow, what is going on? It's gotten to the end of the interview and now I'm starting to feel like mildly bad for her because I think that she just genuinely is kind of dumb and doesn't understand all of the different ways that people are manipulating her. Like I feel like, and now I'm like, damn, I feel kind of like an ass for calling her a cunt. I don't know. She's not the victim. I don't need to give her sympathy. I changed my mind. Fuck her.
anybody. We can all coexist. I don't want a job in the Trump administration. You couldn't pay me to work in the government. I'm okay with being who I am. I don't need to be on anyone's payroll. I just want to be myself. I care about the environment. I care about social conservative values. That's pretty much it. I care about our country.
Okay,
I would do anything for America. And so for these people to accuse me of being a traitor to our country is just so obscene. It blows my mind.
Lindy,
sometimes I'm just stunned. I'm just stunned that it's happening.
Look, did it get racial? Again, it's not everybody. You're just those folks who
I can't even say it because it's just so
Of course it did. Of course it got racial. That's they're Republicans.
Or losing. And I don't, it's like Streisand.
I'm sorry.
I don't even want to repeat it. It's so bad.
Yep, I get it. So I want to come back to the final question that I had theoretically, final back then, which is, but why then race for either side? Why not just say, hey, look, these MAGA guys aren't for me either, and the Democrats aren't for me, and I'm in no man's land, and I'll wait for someone that resonates with me, but I'm not going to go help MAGA because there's a lot of things I disagree with them on.
Good question.
Well, I agree with them basically on almost every social issue, I think, except the environment. And right now, and this is also just something that I happen to be really good at and enjoy. It's just what I do.
Okay, so then
easy.
she's
I know
a bigot.
People say that fundraising is very hard, but I happen to have a really, it's just very enjoyable. It's like a game. It's almost like
she's literally a bigot. But okay,
I've
that's
been doing
fine.
it for like a decade. I did
a lot
it
of Americans
for
are bigots. It's fine.
Before I entered
what
politics, it's just something that I do. It's just like it's just fun for me. I know
I
that
can
sounds
tell you're
insane,
good at
but-
it, Lindy. I can tell you're good at it, and I don't begrudge you for enjoying something that you're good at doing. I would say though that it's likely that you're feeling what you're feeling right now and being politically homeless because of how much that money has destroyed our political system and incentivized our politicians on both sides of the political aisle to basically F us day in and day out on behalf of their corporate donors.
Kopsheimer
I think there are other areas where you can fundraise and excel at it, and it would actually do good. I just don't think it's helpful in the political realm, but that's just me. But
I do want to say one thing. My donors are not corporate. These are like everyday Americans in a variety of industries. They're not from corporations. And I want to say I agree with you, but one party cannot unilaterally disarm. Both have to at the same time. So until both parties reform at the same time, until we do something about Citizens United, it doesn't make sense for one party to just say, okay, we're not going to do this anymore, but yeah, both.
Nope. Like when it comes to generals, she's right. But when it comes to like our own primaries and how internally parties work, you could 100% do that. And anyone who's telling you that you couldn't is lying to you, and they're evil. They might not even know that they're evil, but they are. Okay.
Both parties it's just especially with the advent of super PACs, just been insane. I've had people give tens of millions.
This one's going to be really tough. I'm going to go 23.
PACs like Future Forward and whatnot.
So they're not wealthy.
No, they're wealthy.
Yes, but I don't mean they're not corporate. A lot of them, it doesn't. They could be any. Like I had someone who owns a vineyard. They're not necessarily like corporations.
Got it.
It could be anything. Some of them are immigrants who worked hard all their lives to get here, but they're not. I don't mean they're not part of like huge conglomerates or anything. At least my donors are not. I can't speak to like everybody, but
Okay. Yeah, I understand. All right. Look, really interesting perspective. Hang in there.
I'll send you the graph that I talked about. I'll send it to your producer. It lays it out. You'll be stunned to see what the incentives are. I think it's very, very eye-opening.
Thank you, Lindy.
He's like, I won't be stunned.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Good. Fuck me. Shit. I don't know what the purpose of that interview was. I don't know. What do I come away with this believing? First, that Lindy Li was a TYT viewer and watched a lot of TYT's content back in the day and is now super socially conservative and supporting the Republicans. Whilst simultaneously they're calling her any number of racist names and blah, 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 and harassing her as they were on the Democratic Party. I'm not trying to minimize that, but like, what else? What else to pull away? Birth control is the main reason that she was she was basically put under a spell by birth control to vote for the Democrats and to support them no matter what. That's cool. I don't think that anything interesting or like revolutionary or like revelation, what's the word I'm looking for? Revelationary? We're not going to experience any revelations from whatever PDF that she's going to send over to Cenk for the tears of blah, blah, blah. Like the Republicans do the exact same shit. We've known this for a long ass time. Like this is not news. There's no pyramid scheme, or I mean, maybe there's a form of pyramid scheme, but not one in which people like get more money by being at the top or something. Like, come on, or more influence necessarily. Sometimes you get more influence. Don't get me wrong. The money, spending or raising lots of money does get you more influence. I'm not trying to say that, but like that's a very obvious thing. And frankly, that's how it should work, just not when it's directed by super wealthy people and corporations. TYT feels like they're sort of in the middle of a Dave Rubin moment. And they don't even know that they're in the middle of the Dave Rubin moment, and they're trying to talk to other people that have gone through that moment already and trying to understand why they got there. I don't know. They're expecting the audience to do a lot of work, is all I'm saying. I view what she's saying, because I've been paying attention to TYT for a long-ass time, I view what she's saying as obviously a grift. She's clearly lying. I don't trust her, or either that, or I feel bad for her because she's being manipulated by so many people, and she's just not even fully there to understand that that's what's happening. I don't know what her personal situation is, but like the way that they engaged with it, the way that TYT chose to engage with it, validated a lot of her points when many of them were just like either things that we already knew that she shouldn't be getting a lot of credit for, or that like were objectively wrong or potentially harmful, like confusing people or convincing people that like birth control is actually gonna like hurt you or make you who you aren't, as if that's not like a thing that people already knew about birth control. I'm willing to take the stuff that she said about the criticisms about the Democratic Party. I don't know. I criticize them too. I still have to be with them. I've been clear about that throughout. I still hate the Republicans. I've still been clear about that throughout. I don't know. TYT didn't do a horrible job here. In their mind, I know what they're thinking. In their mind, we can't offend her. We can't say things that are going to make her turn antagonistic and not give us the information that we want. But the information that they want is mostly related to their own personal experience of being castrated by both the left and the Democratic Party generally for different reasons. And them not being able to understand why, or feeling that they were in the right to be treated, or not that they're in the right to be treated that way, but that them being treated that way is sort of a signal that they're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And I guess I'm worried for what that means about the future direction of the show. Look, I suspect that Cenk and Anna are both still very appropriately skeptical of what she had to say, but I have to do all of the legwork in understanding or interpreting that particular interview, because we break for comments. You can see on the screen right now. If you were watching their YouTube video and not their live stream like I am, then you are not going to get what they say after that interview and the additional context they add. You're just going to get that interview. And it's like, I don't know if coming out of that interview that I had as just like a normie, just a random person who listened to that I came out of the interview thinking that the Republicans were worse than the Democrats. She was incoherent and she had too many contradictions. Like, I kind of don't want her on my side unless she's going to be helpful. And it seems like she's very easily swayed one direction or another, and that's not good. I just don't know that people are going to be able to see the things that I'm seeing in terms of her not being a reliable actor or mouthpiece on this stuff, you know? I don't understand why TYT doesn't understand that a lot of people who have been with TYT or have listened to them for so long would be a little bit confused and scared and skeptical when they're empathizing so much and so deeply with a person who basically just said, I pulled a Dave Rubin, you know? Like, I feel like, as someone who's watched TYT for years, as Lindy Li claims to as well, I'm just like disappointed to see that TYT is like sort of spiraled in this direction. I don't even want to assume any ill will. I think they're just kind of being dumb right now. And I'm probably kind of being dumb for believing that that's what's the only thing that's happening. I don't know. Maybe there's something that the comments say that'll spark more criticism for me and the conversation with Lindy Li. Lindy Li, excuse me. I don't know. I'm just disappointed in me. This is not where I expected to see TYT in 2025, personally.
Eugen writes in, I don't trust this woman. All of her books are the same size. Okay, at first I was like, whoa, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's a comment about the books. Adam Birch said, I'm gonna pull a Cenk and say that
I don't trust that woman.
Mineral robbery in Ukraine. The second I heard the minerals mentioned by conservatives.
So I don't trust her. I don't trust her either. That commenter was 100% right, that you shouldn't trust her. There's no, everything that she said sounded like you shouldn't trust it. Please don't trust what she said.
I thought that Pessimistic Progressive says something interesting. I'm seeing a lot of snarky/hateful comments towards Lindy. What I see is a complicated person who feels politically homeless right now. While I disagree with many of the things she says, I do understand some of the points she's trying to make. As Cenk has said many times, trying to label or shame this person does nothing to help.
It's important to discredit the shit that they say, though. Why do we suddenly not believe in that? Why don't suddenly we don't believe in telling conservatives that their stupid opinions are wrong? Suddenly we don't believe in that? I'm doing what Cenk's usually doing. I'm straw manning. This is what Cenk, are you saying that we're literally not allowed to criticize the conservatives for what they do and say when they're wrong? Fucking Christ almighty, man.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. She doesn't know which direction she wants to go yet. She's socially conservative.
She's a grown-ass woman. She's older than me.
Etc. But there's a lot that that I don't think she gets yet. But yet she has an interesting perspective. Organic Panic says her frustration with the DNC makes total sense. However, as a self-proclaimed environmentalist, she said, it's my reason for being. How is she identifying with the GOP? What policies does the GOP back that she can identify with on her reason for being issue? Look, I agree with you as well. I would not have done what she did. I would never raise $1 for the Republican Party or MAGA or Trump, but she's more. I'm gonna read two comments here, one from YouTube, one from TYT.com. Hunter Drake said, my heart goes out to Lindy. It's hard to have nowhere to turn, especially when you're in a hostile area.
Yep.
Many of us are feeling the same.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I don't,
Hunter, again, you're not alone.
I don't disagree.
And that is a very common phenomenon these days, nowhere to turn. And then that goes to one of our members from TYT.com. The one True Coffee Dragon said, big shocker, she discovered the Republicans are also hypocrites who demand you toe the line. Same crap, different hat. So look, guys,
I agree.
There's a lot of binary thinking in the world. Oh, the Democrats are angels, Republicans are terrible, vice versa, right? You guys, our audience, are amazing because the great majority of you have put that aside.
I'm trying my best.
You now realize, same crap, different hat, right? So, and of course, ironically,
it's not the same crap though. It's not the same. The Democrats are bad. It's just not the same level of bad. I just fundamentally disagree with this. Jesus Christ.
Ironically, the heart of the problem is what Anna mentioned, which is the donations. And so, and it's, look, it's not just corporate money.
And now we're, okay. I was going to say I was going to be bad faith, it seems, and say, oh, it's just like the corporate money. Like, it's always the donors, the blah, blah, blah. Like, whenever we feel like we might have been a little bit wrong in judging someone's particular character, and when we end up sounding and sympathizing with them when they say that they've taken Dave Rubin-esque turns, that like we're just going to deflect and say, oh, it's actually money in politics, and it's the same on both sides, and everyone's corrupt, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to default to that, the obvious thing that's true that everyone already agrees with. But it seems like they are actually going to say, oh, there are other things besides the corporate money. Of course, well, I guess so. It's fine.
Do they also serve wealthy interest? Absolutely. And look at what we just found out through that interview, that there's like this whole infrastructure within the wealthy class that we are not even aware of, where they move up the pyramid either on the Democratic side or the.
We're literally aware of it. It's not, and also it's not a pyramid. She lied when she said that. I'm just saying, like, it's not the same. It's not the same. Okay.
Republican side. And so it's this mutually beneficial system where those donors serve the parties and then the parties serve those donors. And none of us are invited to the party.
Yeah, it's corrupt. He's just saying that government's corrupt. Okay, yeah, we know. The person you just invited on is one of those people who's participating in said corruption because she knows it's the only way to actually get them to listen to you. And so that's fine. But yeah, I mean, you're not saying anything new or innovative or interesting. It's not like a new revelation. It's like this, yeah, it's the same shit that we already knew, but fine.
All right, why don't we take
more evidence for the same
break?
thing?
Look, I'll read two more because I love getting the audience involved. Be a member either on YouTube or TYT or Twitch, wherever you want.
Last two comments.
An annual membership, 2 months off on TYT.
I'm assuming they're going to be trash, though.
Idiocracy Genius said about the interview and Lindy, my spidey sense is off the charts on this one. Look, guys, I think what you guys are sensing is that she's more conservative than us. And so.
Is that what we were sensing when she said that I'm a conservative environmentalist? I didn't know. Is that my sense? Dude. You invited a conservative on the show. She's like, it's Trojan horse, dude. Like, please. She said, I am conservative and I support Trump now. I also have been watching you guys for a long time. Dude, literal Trojan horse. It's under your nose.
So her flipping over to Republicans was much easier for her, right? So I agree with you guys. I think she agrees with you. She said it, right? She's very conservative on social issues in a way that we are not, and on economic issues we're very left wing, and it doesn't appear she's very left wing. She really, the only thing that was keeping her in the Democratic Party was that they tapped her on the shoulder first, and she's into the environment and wants to protect.
But we won't give the Democrats credit for that, for tapping her on the shoulder and being like, "Yo, help us out." We won't give the credit not to her or to the Democratic Party for doing that outreach. Apparently, it's way easier for people to donate to Republicans than Democrats. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's so stupid.
Protect the environment. That's really it. Whereas, us and a lot of you guys are just on economic policy. We're left wing, no question, right? Yeah. So, and I think that's the correct way to go. And we care a lot about it. Not everybody, even if they're giant donors and bundlers to Democrats or Republicans, you'd be surprised that those folks, that's what they're good at. That's the thing that they know how to do. It doesn't mean that they're as animated about the issues as you and I are, even though they're a much bigger part of the system. A lot of them barely care about the issues. All right, last one. Michael from Oklahoma said, I think it's good that TYT gives voice to various viewpoints. I think some of her points about the Democratic Party inside game are interesting. Calling out the party line thinking is good, but it feels somewhat insincere, and I find myself questioning the truth of what she's saying. And personally, I don't like any of her positions except on the environment. She seems manipulative to boot. So, Michael, that's your perception.
It's not I don't know. I think it's the objective truth.
And I don't begrudge you that at all. My perception is that she was never really a Democrat.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah,
and
okay.
And she just happened to go in that direction for the two reasons we just discussed. So you're feeling like, well, that's such a big switch. It makes me uncomfortable. Is she earnest? And my conclusion—
No, she's obviously
not.
not.
Right, is that she is earnest. It's just that when she was a Democrat, she really wasn't, right?
I agree. I had the same exact read. Doesn't make her a bad person. And look, when you get that tap—
Well, I don't care about her necessarily betraying the Democratic Party, but like lying to herself and feeling that like she should be on one party's side. Like you're literally saying that like, oh, well, like obviously the Democrats will do more for the environment, but like the Republicans will actively make the problem worse. So, and she said that's the issue that's core to her life. That's like her life's purpose is to care about that issue. But then she ended up voting for Republicans. Why? Because of wokeness, the trans stuff. It's getting crazy. It's insane. Really? That's what made you stop caring enough about the environment to vote for the other person? Well, like what? I don't know. Like what? You're correct. She was and is 100% a conservative. She said it directly. She's been a conservative. I'm not mad at her for switching from the Democratic Party. Look, if you are a conservative, and you genuinely are, I'd rather you not be part of the Democratic Party. I guess. I mean, I want as many people to be part of them as possible, but like, not if you're going to actively sabotage us. And I don't think that she was doing that. She was trying to do support, but it's just like, so like, that's my thing. Like, she seemed sincere when she was with the Democratic Party, but now she's been able to swing the other way, and that's raising a trillion alarm flags. Oh no, it's just really sincere. I don't know. I'm not willing to give her that. I'm sorry.
And there's no need for it. Our cops can't arrest drug cartel gang members. Of course they can. They have great numbers in the past. And the military doesn't do a better job of policing than the police does, no matter whatever you think of the failings of the police. So it's just, there's no need for it. And second of all, anytime we start calling people terrorists, here comes the demagoguing. So the word has no meaning. It doesn't really, it's never used consistently.
Okay.
It's only used against people we don't like. So it's just totally, best case scenario is totally needless. Worst case scenario used for demagoguing and military force. So the third bucket is, should we invade Mexico? Are you kidding me? Why would we attack Mexico? What kind of lunatic talk is this? And I know why Trump's doing it. He thinks keep everything on the table, right? And let me make sure that I use my leverage, and this is among my options. I get it, but it sounds mental, and it's destabilizing for the world when we threaten to invade half the countries in our hemisphere.
I respect Cenk a lot for saying that. See, and this is why I don't entirely dismiss TYT. A very rational perspective from Cenk. Just occasionally, or more regularly interspersed with right-wing talking points. That's fine. I don't know. Fuck me. It should probably be fine. It should probably be fine. We should probably stop freaking out about it. It'll be okay. This is my last recording. On this topic, I'm done with Trackmania. Fuck off. I've not been very lucky, have I? 30 minutes until cup of the day anyway, so we'll see about that.